55 kilometers. That's all that separates Iran from the United Arab Emirates. 55 kilometers of water through which 20% of all the oil consumed on the planet each day passes. The Strait of Hormuz is not just a shipping route, it's the point where the modern world is most fragile, most vulnerable, easiest to break, and very few people know it. Every time you fill up your car's tank, there's a real chance that fuel has passed through there, through that narrow channel, monitored, stretched to its limits for decades, a point where a single wrong decision could send the price of oil skyrocketing across the globe in a matter of hours. It's not exaggeration, it's simple math. Before continuing, if you find these kinds of stories as fascinating as I do, subscribe right now. I post every week, and I don't want you to miss what's coming. The Strait of Hormuz connects the Persian Gulf with the Gulf of Oman and from there with the Indian Ocean. Its narrowest point measures a mere 55 kilometers from end to end. But what is truly astonishing is that the navigable lanes, the strips where tankers can safely pass, are only 3 kilometers wide in each direction. 3 kilometers, the width of a medium-sized city. Between 15 and 20 million barrels of crude oil, liquefied natural gas, and refined products that fuel entire economies pass through there every day. Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, Kuwait, Iraq, Qatar, they all need this waterway to export their energy to the world. Without it, there is no way out. And on the other side, looking down on all of this, is Iran. The geography here is brutal in its political brutality. The northern shore of the strait belongs almost entirely to Iranian territory. This means that Iran has the technical and logistical capacity to complicate, disrupt, or outright block maritime traffic at the most critical point in the world's energy supply. It hasn't done so completely, at least not yet. But the threat has loomed over every negotiation, every sanction, every diplomatic crisis in the region for decades. To understand why this matters so much today, we need to pause for a moment to consider something economists call the substitution cost. If the Strait of Hormuz were to close for just 30 days, the countries that depend on that oil would have to find alternative routes. Such routes exist, but they are longer, more expensive, and have limited capacity. Saudi Arabia has a pipeline that crosses its territory to the Red Sea. The UAE built another that reaches Fujairah in the Gulf of Oman, bypassing the strait, but together these pipelines do not have enough capacity to replace all the flow that passes through Hormuz. The difference between what can be diverted and what actually passes through the strait is a gap that the global oil market could not absorb without severe consequences. In 2019, the extent of this tension was concretely demonstrated. In June of that year, 2 oil tankers were attacked in the Gulf of Oman, near the entrance to the strait. One of them burned for hours. The images were broadcast around the world. The United States blamed Iran. Iran denied it, and while diplomats were talking, the price of oil rose almost 4% in a matter of hours, purely out of fear. There had been no actual blockade, no sustained disruption of traffic, just 2 damaged ships and the specter of what might come. That's the psychological power of the Strait of Hormuz. Weeks later, in July of the same year, the Iranian Revolutionary Guard seized a British-flagged tanker in the strait's waters. They took it to an Iranian port, detained its crew, and held it hostage for months. It was a calculated show of force, a response to the earlier detention of an Iranian vessel by Gibraltarian authorities. The strait as leverage, the strait as a message. Here's something worth understanding in depth because it changes the way you see the world. The oil that passes through Hormuz doesn't go primarily to the United States or Europe, it goes to Asia. Japan receives approximately 80% of its crude oil imports through that channel. South Korea, around 70%. China, a significant portion of its enormous energy demand, India, Taiwan, the Philippines. If the strait were to close for weeks, the first economies to feel it wouldn't be Western, but Asian, and given their weight in global manufacturing, the collapse would ripple across the entire planet. Consider what that means for geopolitics. China has a direct and vital interest in the Strait of Hormuz remaining open. So does Japan, which is an ally of the United States but depends energetically on a route that